You're in the middle of the Yerushalmi's Chidush Lagabe with respect to the Mile of Maisa. The conclusion is, again, what we're looking at right now is the Bavli's answer to the stira in the Psukim in Mishlei, Perek Gimel, Perek Ches, and the Yerushalmi's answer, and they're not the same. The stira is that in one place it says that Torah is more precious only than h'tשכ, but not more precious than Cheftzei Shamayim, which is mitzvahs. In the other place, it implies that Torah is more precious even than all chafetzim, including Cheftzei Shamayim. So tell me, the Bavli's answer, of course, is that the first pasuk, that a mitzvah supersedes Torah, is talking about in the case where, no, guys, Bavli, where no one else can do the mitzvah. That's the answer of the Bavli. What is the Yerushalmi's answer? The Yerushalmi doesn't say that. The Yerushalmi reconciles the two psukim in a different way. When it says h'tשכ, it means Poshet, what? Second line of the second paragraph of Eis Dalet. What's the Bavli's answer? h'tשכ means what? Second line of the second paragraph of Eis Dalet. It's on the top of the page. Okay, a race. Who's going to get the answer first? Simple answer. h'tשכ means what? It's the most obvious answer. More pshat in Bavli even. Precious gems. But then the second pasuk, which says that kol ha'chafetzim yishvuva, kol, that's referring to what? That's referring to what? Says the Yerushalmi. All mitzvahs. So for the Yerushalmi, there's no exception. Even a mitzvah, she'efsa la'asayis al dei acherim, even a mitzvah that someone else can do, according to the Yerushalmi, Torah is still greater. And not only that, he brings him another source earlier in the Gemara in Yerushalmi that says, a very extraordinary statement. What does it say? Not only that, but
the whole mitzvahs are not
all mitzvahs compared to what?
compared to the Torah.
More than just. Even one thing in Torah. That explains why we learned why does the Yerushalmi extol the virtue of limud Torah over Bavli? Because that's the nature of Yerushalmi, namely the difference between Bavli and Yerushalmi is the words of the Mittel Rebbe quoted here and quoted extensively in Chassidus. Yerushalmi is two words, and Bavli is also two words, but the second word's different. Yosha versus Chayzer. In simple language, the difference is Yosha means direct light. All right. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm Babylonian. If our McGill student understands what you mean, it's just simple English. Yosha means
unobstructed revelation.
Huh?
Unobstructed revelation.
Okay, yeah. Where truth is read is transparently apparent. Where the truth is obvious and revealed and there before you. Chayzer means
engagement.
Mazel tov, engagement, okay. It's not a wrong word, but again, Babylon, I don't say Babylon. The truth is that the universities are Babylon. and worse.
The Er Yasher is mitzad the mashpia, the Er Chayz is
We're
mitzad the
talking in
makabel.
simple English, and we justify Er Yasher as where the truth is obvious and apparent and revealed. Simple English, no Hebrew for our McGill student. Er Chayz means using the same language that he understands, not just language, but the issue, where the truth is not obvious, needs to be discovered, extracted. That's Chayzer. Truth is always present, but Chayzer means that you've got to find it within and remove the concealments and discover it. And Yosha means it is straightforward and obvious. We gave you, I told you a story several times. It's a very instructive story that illustrates the difference between Bavli and Rishalmi, Yosha and Chayzer, and the same difference applies to Rishonim and Achronim. It's the same model, relatively speaking. Tanoim versus Amoraim. But it's most striking in Bavli and Rishalmi. What's the famous story I told you? It's important. It's a story to remember. There's certain stories you need to remember because they're very instructive. Remember the kid, the child that was besting his teachers. He just was a lot cleverer than them, and he's growing up to be spiritually very unhealthy, very arrogant. So his father brought him to the Alter Rebbe. No, how does the story go from there? Nobody remembers. Oh, do we not remember the story? I'll start you if you remember. So the Alter Rebbe asks him, do you know how to learn? He says, yeah. This is good. Can you learn it? Yeah. So he takes a Gemara off the shelf and he opens up to a Rosh, which is a Pesach, one of the primary Poskim. Look, of course that kid hasn't learned through Shas, he just knows how to learn. It's a kid. So he said, look at it. A couple of minutes, he understands exactly what the Rosh is saying. Good. The Rosh makes a point, a halacha, kach v'kach, and brings a raya from the Gemara. The Alter Rebbe says to him, it's a pretty weak raya, don't you agree? He says, yeah. It's not such a strong raya. The Alter Rebbe then proceeds to do what? Now you remember the story.
Exactly the details, but he brings another proof.
The Alter Rebbe goes on to bring 10 rayas from all over Shas. And you had to be a genius to follow the Alter Rebbe's reasoning. And after every raya, the Alter Rebbe says to him, you agree? I brought a good raya. He says, yeah, a good raya. Then the Alter Rebbe proceeds to dismantle every one of the 10 rayas. If they even be a bigger going to understand how he slugged it up, and after he slugs up each one, it's all a pilpul, one way and then the other way, opposite. After all the 10 rayas, after each one he says, are you masking with me? He says, yeah. And so he brought him 10 rayas this way and 10 rayas back. The Alter Rebbe says to him, you don't know how to learn, all you do is agree with me. But the truth is, you had to be a big gon to follow the Alter. But here's the main part of the story which he wanted to convey to the child, whatever he was, 10 years old. He says, you think the Rosh went through this process that we did? All these rayas and then slugged it up, and the only one that was left, that's the point. The only raya that was left that's not earth-shattering, not so givaldic, was the raya that the Rosh brought. That can't be dislodged. You think he went through the process that we did? No. And he was masbir with a marshal. Now this is the ikki. What's the marshal? This is the marshal to be masbir, the Rosh, Rishon versus Achron, Yerushalmi versus Bavli. The marshal is a person's in a room, unfamiliar to him. He comes in blindfolded and it's pitch black, or he's blindfolded the whole time. In this room, he has to find the door. He wants to go out. So like in Yiddish, he starts tapping around, right? So let's say he would come to that cupboard. Oh, he would say to himself, I found the opening because there's a frame here and there's an indent, but then he pushes his hand further. No, it's not a cupboard, it's a bookshelf. Then he would come to that door. This is mamish a door. He feels the door handle. There is 5 rayas, it's a door. Tries the door handle, but it's locked. It doesn't work. So finally, how long it's going to take him? Till finally he comes to here and then walks out. He goes out. It's dark. Machashak and Moishevani is what it says is a pasuk in the Maimon brings a pasuk in Yirmiyahu that the Gemara says refers to Bavli. We're in Chayshech. This is Er Chayzer. This is Hazeh. This is discovering the truth, the opening in this case, how to get out of this room. What is the door? Through a process of trial and elimination. Well, it's not obvious. Lights off. The same person in an unfamiliar room, the light is on. The door, out he goes, no discussion. That's Yosher. That's Yerushalmi. What's the halacha? Yerushalmi is lichtik at Yisrael, avirid at Yisrael, machkim. It's the Holy Land, and truth is obvious. The Eibush is not so concealed. So discussions are straight to the point. The Alter Rebbe told him the story, like the Moshe Lagabi, the Rosh, and us, Achronim. The reason he told him the story is that he should understand that Limud HaTorah is not just a good cup, but this Lichtigkeit, Oir, the Rosh learned is a whole different oifen of learning. He should respect, first of all, respect Torah, and it humbled him. And also, in the Chatchil, he was mevatel him. You just agree with me. It's all you, whatever. But it's a very instructive story for us. Clear? So this is the difference between Yosher and Hazeh. So that's why the Yerushalmi extols the Maila of Limud HaTorah and says that Limud HaTorah is greater than everything, even a mitzvah that no one else can do. Now comes the point. Now comes the Chiddush of the Yerushalmi over the Bavli. The Yerushalmi is Oir. And just before I go further, it's going to bring out that even though the limud of Yerushalmi is a higher oifen limud, right?
Without all the pilpulim.
Emes, klar. No helen v'hester kashas tirutzim stiris. It's obvious. The kus is revealed. Chachmas Hashem is revealed. Like the guy in the room where the light is on, and where's the door? What's the whole discussion? There's the door, and you go out. So it's a higher oifen limud, right? Rabbi Zayda fasted 40 fasts. Some say Giris 100 fasts when he went from Bavel to Yisrael to learn Limud Yerushalmi, to forget Talmud Bavli. Rabbi Zayda, the Gemara says. So this brings this frequently. Rabbi Zayda fasted 40 fasts. Yes, another Giris 100 Tanesim to forget Bavli as Achona. So Chassidus asks, that's how you prepare to go to a higher school of learning, to forget which. On the contrary, you want to know why? Because it's a bein aroich. If you're going to come to the Shalmi with the mindset of Bavli, you're in Choshech. This fasting was to edel himself out, to elevate himself, that he should be a keli, transparent. The guf, the mayach should be illuminated, that the oir HaTorah should immediately be obvious, and he shouldn't be the helen v'hester, which is what Bavel means, confusion. Bavli is bilbul, is balbul. So that's why he fasted, was an avodah, to refine himself and refine his mayach. They should be able to be koilet and see the oir, and not come in with the mindset of Bavli. But I want to bring out this Afla Piken, when there's a machlekes between Bavli and Yerushalmi. The halacha is like who? Gentlemen, answer? Huh? Bavli. Why l'chei Yerushalmi is a higher limud? But Erchez is deeper, because back to our marshal of the door, as opposed to a cupboard or a window. You could think this is also a door because it's got a frame. At the end of the day, he understands more what a door is and how a door works. Because of the search and the comparison to other things and the pratim, the detail, he understands deeper what a door is. Doesn't see it like the Yerushalmi does. Lichtigkeit Yerushalmi, about the real appreciation, understanding. Pale mamish, nitty gritty. In other words, who could make a door for you? Who are you going to ask? The Yerushalmi guy? No. He just never looked critically at it.
He never compared prices.
Never compared prices. They compared door, window. The Bavli guy will make a door for you, understands all the pratim. Because he was nislabish. That's Oir Hazeh. It's deeper. Which in general was the mile of mitzvahs of a Torah. Which we were going to now. Omnam. So up to Omnam. It's in the middle of the ice. It's 5 lines. It's 1 line above the number 17. Can you find the number 17 in the text?
The line that begins Me'asher B'Bavli.
Yeah. Me'asher B'Bavli, right? So, having just said, let's get the flow. Having just said that Yerushalmi is Oir, and Yerushalmi extols champions the mile of Torah, because that's what Yerushalmi is, Yashar. And therefore the Yerushalmi says that Torah is greater than all mitzvahs. And not only that, one vort, davar echad mit Torah, is greater than all the mitzvahs kulam. Mikam mokim yisir b'shalmi b'pshitus. The Yerushalmi says b'pshitus, when talking about Mishim B'Yachai, that he was terasoi imnosoi, says the Yerushalmi b'pshitus, v'loi moider ashbish mafsikin lasis suk v'lasis lulav bitmiyah. And it's a rhetorical question. Doesn't Mishim B'Yachai, who's terasoi imnosoi, doesn't he agree that you stop learning to make a sukkah and make a lulav? It's not, it's a rhetorical question. He does agree. This mitzvah which comes around once in a certain zman. So you see, even the Yerushalmi, bottom line when it comes to mitzvah, that if you don't do it now, it doesn't get done. Without going to the pilpul now, why that's different to a mitzvah, because it's not a chiyuv on you. It's like it's a mitzvah, it's got to be done. Here when it's a chiyuv on you. Now what about other mitzvahs like Kiddush Shema and Tefillah, mafsikin once every 30 days or not at all, but he doesn't go, this is a whole arichas. But what we're getting from here is, the end of the day, even Yerushalmi is saying that Rashbi stops to do sukkah and lulav. So even the Yerushalmi at the end points to, there comes a point somewhere where mitzvah, we see mitzvah is greater. V'hainu, shehechrech tekim mitzvahs maisi yisafil itzel Rashbi. That the hechrech, that there must be maisi b'peil, is even by Rashbi, shegad the ma'alosoi, b'limud Torah, the Torah must say, his limud Torah was at the highest level, that Torah was his umnus, was his profession, the Gemara says in Shabbos, and Bechlal didn't do mitzvahs, so very infrequently. But true, infrequently, but still he had to do the mitzvah. That's what the Rebbe is scratching here, stressing here, that at the end of the day, somewhere it's going to reach a point where the mitzvah will be greater than limud Torah. Clear? Even Rashbi is mafsik for sukkah and lulav. Now he wants to, he's in the middle, mid speaking here, wants to bring out the mile of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's limud Torah, and afal piken he does sukkah and lulav. Furthermore, not only is there also imnosai, but more than that, his limud Torah was not Torah disconnected from the world. So he's bringing out even more. Mainly you would say, look, if you're just learning Torah, you're not changing the world. We came down to the world for this, you could remain in Gan Eden. So he came down to the world, obviously, to do Maaseh B'Poel. So what's not such a big pella that he stopped to make sukkah and lulav? After all, the Rebbe says it still is a pella, because his limud Torah was not disconnected from the world. His limud Torah was Poel, changing the world. And still he did the Maaseh B'Poel, sukkah and lulav. What's the story? The famous story, the Zohar tells a story that there wasn't rain, against Arichas, and Rashbi said Torah in the pasuk, and this is many like Bayom and Mamorim. Begin with this pasuk, in Mativ Manoim, because that's the story of Rashbi, like Bayom says Yilula. So many Mamorim start on this pasuk. So Rashbi said on the pasuk, in Mativ Manoim, Mishavas Achem Gam Yochad, how beautiful, how good and pleasant it is when brothers sit together. He said the whole Torah. The Zohar brings the Torah that he says. He was pale rain. So his Torah was not disconnected. He came down to the world and it made a big difference. Rain, Pashut people were going to starve, die from starvation. Through his Torah, he made a tremendous shinoi. And still he stopped for sukkah and lulav. Understand the point? And still he did sukkah and lulav, even though his Torah had made shinuim in the world of Hazeh. Following?
Yeah, but that means that the rule of the mitzvah is greater.
That's right. At the end of the day, no matter how great Torah, there's going to be a point, stop and do the maaseh with the wood and with the hammer, take the lulav, take the sukkah. Now he wants to bring out even further. So Moishe the Rebbe explains to you what Rabbi Shimon did. This that he did, this that he said a pasuk and rain came, it wasn't like he said a Torah, Beglal shoyze eis rotzen chayitz bezen, was an auspicious time in heaven, and he said a nice dvar Torah, so beschar and beschus, so the dvar Torah rain fell, which would then mean his Torah is still not connected to the world. It's like a gram, it causes. He says that's not what happened. His Torah was because he was aware of the matzah we need rain, and he said that kind of Torah that will be mamshich rain in the world. So his Torah did change the world. Still he did the Ma'aseh mitzvah. That's what he wants to bring out. He darshan the Pnimis HaTorah, the appropriate thing, which is shaykh and related to bringing rain in the world. And he says, see, all these Maimarim, where they explain the Torah of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and Hinem HaToiv, and how that's connected to Parnasa and Kshamim for Yidden. Now he concludes his point. Umikol Mokim, after bringing out the whole mile of his Torah, the whole mile that Yerushalmi extols the mile of Torah. And then still the Yerushalmi says that Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai is tough for Sukkah and Lulav. And who's Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai? Terosim Nosei, on the highest level, but not even disconnected from the world, affecting the world, bringing rain. Still he's tough for Sukkah and Lulav. That's it. His change in the world, even that story, that's not enough. Alahutz, that change and effect in the world, he needed to stop learning and be Makayim, the mitzvah of Sukkah and Lulav. Alahutzrach, lahafsik melimad aterek de lakayim mitzvahs maisi is dafke, he put on tefillin, l'chayra, and he stopped every 30 days to daven. So the Rebbe is bringing out, which Alter Rebbe did, even Bavli and even Yerushalmi, even though Yerushalmi says that all mitzvahs, all of them don't compare to one vart of Torah, true, but then when it comes to the Ma'aseh B'Peil, Sukkah and Lulav, etc., you stop learning and you do the mitzvah. So we're left with, which we need to explain, that the mile of Torah, but still greater is the mile of mitzvahs, which we already started to explain. The mile of Ercheze Dafke, the mile of Bavli of Yerushalmi. The Rotzen or Elyon is Dire B'Tachtoinim. In terms of my experience and connection, Torah is higher. Rotzoi is Torah. Shuv is mitzvahs. Rotzoi is higher, Shuv is lower, but the Kavanah Pnimis isn't the Shuv. This hecher and this tifer. Hecher is hecher is when you're led by the hand. The Rebbe that takes you and inspires you, lifts you to heights you never access by yourself. That's higher.
Tighter.
Deeper is tighter, more precious is when the Avodah comes. But again, we're going ahead, we're putting words in the mind, but let's go further. So we're going to add in the Chiddush, because Alter Rebbe concludes with Ad Kan Toich Namayim, the end of his Gimel, that again, that Nehi Netzach Chod Yesod, which is mitzvahs, Gamkin Min HaTorah, is necessary. You can't remain in the world of Chabad. It's got to come down the world of Nehi, the higher mitzvahs. Chabad is Torah. That's how he concludes the Maimer. Now the Alter Rebbe is leaving us with the final message, Maaseh. So he's continuing to elaborate. So we're going to further understand the Alter Rebbe's Chiddush. And after the Alter Rebbe is Mairich and the greatness of Torah over mitzvahs. Next page, friends. Mitzvahs Maaseh is Moisef Messiah. So what does he conclude with, which we're saying now the whole time? There he quotes only the Bavli. The Rebbe added even the Yerushalmi. But he says when he comes to the mitzvah through Achedim, we have to stop learning and do the mitzvah. Let's explore that and the chiddush of this statement. When the Alter Rebbe said such a thing, when the Alter Rebbe say this, concluding with the Maila of Maaseh on Simchas Torah, שבאים מודגשת יויסה מעלת התורה לגבי מצוות. Obviously, Simchas Torah, we're bringing out the mile of Torah over mitzvahs. ובשמחת תורה עצמי, now comes an interesting thing. נאמר מאמר זה ביום. When the Alter Rebbe say by day. So what's the mile of the day over the night? Simcha actually mile is Torah, but if a Nile Yoser, the Simcha that connected with the mile of Torah is greater than the of the night previously. Simcha Torah by night. Because Simcha Torah we have more cause for Simcha. Lagabi Simcha Simcha Torah relative to the night before. Why? Look in the brackets. What's the raya? Because of the simcha which we had by night, so we expressed our joy. We danced. What are we dancing again? Showing you danced. The fact we have a kofis again, we dance again. It's not the same old, not repeating. There's something even more that's been addition by day. Because of which he has to be rejoiced and dance even by day. And so when's Alter Rebbe saying this maimah? Simchas Torah at the climax, not at night, but by day, where there's even additional reasons to rejoice with the Torah. And this is obvious between night and day in a simple sense. When the sun shines, you see things you couldn't see at night, new things. The same is true of night and day beruchnius. With respect to intellectual light, illumination, enlightenment. Day means where there's greater intellectual appreciation than night. So the Simchas Torah day is a reflection of Simchas Torah day, not just Gashmi, but day Ruchni. We're clear? Yeah? So the dancing, we dance with our feet on Simchas Torah. What's the reason we dance with our feet? Because the moyach cannot contain the greatness of the simcha. So when is that simcha really revealed? That it's so great that we can't intellectualize it, but we appreciate it. We can't intellectualize it. When is, because it's in the previous maimah, that the whole mile of Tishrei is that it's in that the moyach appreciates. He's inspired. But when that it's by day because day is oir. Since it's day, and then and his intellect illuminates. That's what day means. Night means the intellect is not illuminating. Day means it is. In Igam Oz, even then he dances. Even with an illuminated seichel. The appreciation of the great simcha is so great that even with an open mind, as it were, an illuminated mind, the simchas Torah day mind, he still dances. So, gewaldige moment. And here at this time he says a maimah that brings out at the end the mile of Maisa. It's a gewaldige chiddush. Let's finish the point. Mashenkin in brackets b'chinas Delilah when he's in a state of night. So then you could say, why is he dancing? Because the kop arbitnish, the mind isn't open as much. Then you could say, why can't he grasp and intellectualize the joy? Not because the simcha is so great. The people, it's a matzav of cheshech, of oir. That's when the mind is not illuminated. It's not a time of enlightenment. That's what you could say about the night, but you can't say that about day. Simchas Torah day, oir means the seichel is opened, and he's dancing with the feet, because the seichel recognizes that it cannot grasp the great simcha. And what are we celebrating? What? The mile of Torah. And yet in this maimer on Simchas Torah, what does the Alter Rebbe end with? That Nehi is Mukhrach. That Netzach Hoyd Yesoid, mitzvahs, maisias, the Chocha from Bavli, and we also see it in Yerushalmi, is Mukhrach. So, despite the gewaltige mile of Torah, the pointing again and again, stronger, clearer to the Maila of the Maisa, the Mitzvah B'Poel.